Hey guys, AB here from B&H, and if you're somebody who's been looking into podcasting, but you're kind of afraid of technology or don't know much about audio, Zoom has created a simple piece of gear to help you start podcasting right away. Introducing the PodTrak P4. This is Zoom's first recorder dedicated strictly to podcasting, and it's got a lot of features right off the bat that are going to get you going right away. 4 mic inputs, the ability to take 2 remote phone calls simultaneously, battery operated with 2 AA batteries, very light, very affordable. So why don't we take a deeper look and see what the P4 offers. First and foremost, 4 XLR mic inputs, each with independent gain control to adjust your input levels accordingly. So if you've got a few guests on your show or maybe a few other co-hosts, right away you've got everybody covered. I should also mention that the P4 provides up to 70 dB of mic gain. This is important for mics like this Shure SM7B, which requires a bit of extra juice when compared to other dynamic mics. In fact, a lot of people end up having to use an outside gain booster or a cloud lifter to get the right level, but the P4 provides plenty of juice. Right now I have it at about 6 out of 10, and the signal's great, so no worries there whatsoever. Each input also offers phantom power, a limiter to prevent overloading of the signal, and a low-cut filter to get rid of any low-end rumble during recording. Below the gain knobs are selection switches for the type of mic you're using, such as dynamic versus condenser. And inputs 3 and 4 have an additional selection for integrating phone calls, which we'll get into later. Conveniently, there are also independent mute buttons, which can be engaged on a per-channel basis. Below that, we've got the section in black, which pretty much houses all the controls you would use during the recording of your podcast. There are 4 buttons marked A through D, and these are the sound pads that allow you to trigger your own sound effects or backing tracks during your podcast. The P4 ships with 11 built-in preset sounds, but you can take any sounds from your computer, whether that's a song, a sound effect, anything you have as an audio file, put that on the SD card that you would have inside the P4, and trigger those sounds with the 4 pads. In fact, you can even record directly into the P4 and assign that audio to a sound pad. Below those pads is a volume knob which controls the level of all the sound pads globally, so you're going to want to make sure that the sounds you use are relatively equal in level, so you don't have to keep adjusting that volume knob every time you engage a new sound. To the right is the LCD screen, which really serves a number of purposes. First, it enables you to monitor the input levels from the microphones, the level of the sound pads, and the overall stereo output level, giving you a good visual reference of all your audio ins and outs. The screen also displays the P4's menu system, and it's simple to navigate when you want to go through different functions. Just press the menu button, then use the play or stop button to highlight a particular menu item. Then you'd press the record/enter button to engage or disengage that selection. You can pretty much tweak what you need to customize the P4 to your particular setup. And when not exploring the menu, the transport buttons allow for recording new audio and playing back that recorded content. It's important to note that each of the 4 mic inputs is recorded to an individual track, and the sound effects are all recorded to one track as well, so this allows you to really manipulate and mix your audio individually in post. Below the screen are 4 knobs that control the 4 independent headphone jacks located right at the front of the unit. This is great for customizing headphone levels for each participant in your podcast. On the right side is the power on-off button and 2 jacks. The one on the right is for plugging in a mobile device via TRRS cable to incorporate a phone call into your podcast. When used in conjunction with a smaller jack, you can attach Zoom's optional BTA2, which is a Bluetooth connector that lets you take remote phone calls via Bluetooth through apps like Skype, FaceTime, and many others. On the left side, we've got the SD card slot, which takes SD, SDHC, SDXC cards up to 512 gigabytes, and then we've got 2 USB-C ports. The first, the one on the left, is really for power. So if you wanted to use an external adapter, or if you're using an external battery pack, like the one I'm using for this video, easily plug it right in and you get a lot of juice. Since we're talking about batteries, let's just quickly flip to the bottom of the unit. You've got a battery compartment for 2 AA batteries. Alkaline is going to give you about 4 hours of power. If you use lithium-ion or NIMH batteries, you're going to get more juice. And as with other Zoom products, if you're using a battery pack and you have 2 batteries inside, when the battery pack dies, it'll seamlessly switch to the AA's, and then you can either recharge the battery pack or, attach another one that you already had charged and just keep going. So it's kind of a cool thing. Going back to the second USB-C port, that's really for connecting to your computer, and that serves a number of purposes. One would be to use the P4 as a USB audio interface. So yes, this is a 2-in, 2-out USB audio interface that's compatible with Mac, PC, iOS, and Android devices, and you can make that selection in the menu. The same USB-C port lets you transfer files from the P4 to your computer and move audio files from your computer to the P4's SD card so that you can customize the sound effects for your podcast. So back to what is probably the most compelling feature of the P4, and that is the ability to take not one, but 2 remote phone calls simultaneously. One thing to keep in mind is that when recording phone calls, the P4 automatically prevents feedback from the call audio using something called mix minus, which is a function built into the unit. This is always on when connecting a phone via the TRRS jack, but for USB-C calls, you can engage mix minus by going into the menu system and choosing USB mix minus. Another thing to keep in mind is that when you make phone calls with a P4, you're going to give up some of your channels. So anything that utilizes the TRRS jack will be routed along channel 3, and anything utilizing the USB-C port is going to occupy channel 4. So just remember, you're going to give up those 2 channels in terms of mic inputs if you're using them for phone calls. So to check out the phone call capabilities of the P4, I am going to give a call to my boy Jake, who you may remember helped me with the Zoom L8 live track review, where we took that onto a subway so that we could podcast while on the go. I'm going to call Jake via the TRRS jack, and then at some point in our conversation, I'm going to use the USB-C jack to FaceTime Bobby, who also made an appearance in our Zoom L8 video from a while back.
Hey, this is Jake.
Jake, AB.
What's going on, AB?
Thanks for picking up. I know it's a Friday, but I wanted to get you on this call because I'm actually testing out this new Zoom podcasting product called the PodTrak P4, and you had helped me out with the L8, so I figured why not get back in the mix.
First of all, AB, I always answer your call, no matter what day or time of day. It's always an honor to talk to you.
I also thought that just for flashback's sake, we would call Bobby. This thing can actually make phone calls to 2 different people at the same time. I'm calling you.
No kidding.
Yeah. So I want to actually FaceTime audio call him because I think he's driving and see if he picks up and maybe chat for a very short while, and then we can all go our separate ways.
Sure.
All right.
Give him a call.
Yeah, let me give him a call. Let's see if he answers.
Hello?
Hey, Bobby, it's AB.
Hey, AB, how's it going?
Good, man. I know you're driving, so I don't want to disturb you too much, but can you hear me fairly clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you pretty well.
Okay, cool. I hear you very well. I'm actually calling from home, but I'm using a Zoom PodTrak P4. It's a new podcast machine that lets you make multiple phone calls at once, and I say that because I actually have Jake on the other line.
What's going on, buddy?
You talking to Jake?
Yeah. Why?
Yeah, what's the problem? You got a problem with that?
Let me tell you something about Jake.
Okay.
Here we go.
I think he's been lying to all of us.
Well,
he says he has natural highlights. I don't buy it. I think he's been using sun-in and just lying to everybody. So,
how dare you? Do not spout
I
these
don't buy
lies
it.
to the public.
So I don't want to talk with that guy, Jake.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. I will definitely see you guys around.
All right.
Thanks, AB. Take care.
All right, you too. Wow, phone calls sounded great. I'm very impressed with the P4. I really think this is going to be a game changer, especially for those of you out there who are dying to get into podcasting and you just are a little afraid of tech or you think there's a big learning curve. This is going to make things a lot easier, and it sounds great. I should also mention that there's a Zoom PodTrak P4 podcast mic kit, which includes the P4, Zoom's ZD-M1 large diaphragm dynamic mic, the ZHP1 over-ear closed-back headphones, a tabletop tripod mic stand, and a 10-foot XLR cable to connect your mic to the P4. And that's my review. If you need more information on the PodTrak P4 or other Zoom products, check out bhphoto.com. Thanks again for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Once again, this is AB from B&H, and I'll see you next time.